The best of Money Matters. Money Matters with Hongbin, Jeong and Chua, Tian.
This is Money Matters with me, Hongbin, Jeong,
and me, Chua, Tian.
bringing you your 2025 budget conversation. And joining us, we have our panelists, Terence, Associate Professor in Practice at the Singapore University of Social Sciences, as well as Nicholas Fang, Director of Security and Global Affairs at Singapore Institute of International Affairs, as well as the Managing Director of Strategic Consultancy at Black Dot. Now, it has become a yearly tradition where most of us check the news to see whether we are getting more GST vouchers, cash, or CDC vouchers. But as Singapore celebrates its 60th year of independence, how much more goodies will Singaporeans be receiving? Some observers have earlier speculated that the government is likely to roll out a generous SG60 budget. Now, if you recall, back in 2015, as Singapore celebrated 50 years of independence, the budget brought enhancements to the goods and services tax voucher scheme and MediSave top-ups. Later that year, all civil servants got an SG50 cash bonus. Now, let's take a quick recap of Prime Minister and Finance Minister Lawrence Wong made on this year.
In this budget, I will introduce an SG60 package to recognize the contributions of all Singaporeans and to share the benefits of our nation's progress. Our unity is a precious asset which we must never take for granted. The experiences of countries around the world show how easy it is for trust to be eroded and for societies to become deeply divided and polarized.
All right. Some of the things, just to recap here, that has been announced was SG60 Vouchers in July 2025 for all Singaporeans ages 21 and above in 2025, $600 for those 21 to 59 and $800 for those above 60. We've got 60% personal income tax rebates for the year of assessment of 2025 for all tax residents, capped at $200. We've got SG60 Baby Gift for all Singaporean babies born in 2025. And other support as well. So, Terence, bringing you into the conversation, now that we've taken a look at all the different goodies from SG60, from the vouchers, goodies, and gifts, what are you most excited about?
Yeah, so I think that, of course, all the measures are quite welcome in terms of relieving various cost pressures, but it's actually some of the smaller measures which got me quite excited as well, including the Culture Pass, which I think is quite innovative. It will get more Singaporeans out there exploring what arts and heritage activities that we have to offer. And it's a nice touch also to have the SG60 Baby Gift, just as in 2015. And if you look at all these measures, I think they have evolved a bit since 2015, in the sense that since the post-COVID period, I think there are more support given to all Singaporeans, basically more universal measures, even though there's still further support for the less well-off group.
Right. Well, Nicholas, what are your thoughts on the comprehensiveness of the SG60 package? Do you think this will satisfy many Singaporeans? Did it satisfy you?
I do agree with Terence that it's a pretty comprehensive budget that touches on a range of different things, feels interesting, perhaps we could say a slightly more niche sort of measures. But, that kind of runs the risk of potentially not having like a big bang factor in terms of what people are expecting to get. I think there was a lot of expectation built up, not necessarily for an SG60 budget, but for a GE, a general election budget, given that we're having all these conversations about when the elections are likely to be, potentially quite soon. So, and one of the things I kind of cautioned in the build-up to this budget is that hopefully we don't move to a populist type of position where when you have a milestone event or an election coming up, then people expect and get goodies in the budget, which typically shouldn't necessarily be the case. If you run a balanced budget and you have a surplus, then you would expect some distribution of the surplus back to Singaporeans. But, I hope it never becomes so transactional that, if you want my vote, then you should give me more goodies. So in that sense, I did appreciate that the budget really sought to address certain issues. The SG60 vouchers that typically would function like CDC vouchers, which as we know were designed to help people deal with cost of living and potentially inflation. I find these quite helpful, and there's a really direct kind of impact as well. And then Terence mentioned the culture pass, the kind of stuff that was being done to maintain, upgrade and improve our hawker centres. We've spoken quite a lot about the importance of the hawker culture in Singapore. This is the government sort of putting its money where its mouth is. On top of the $1 billion for the upgrading, there's also going to be the rental support extended to hawkers. So hopefully that helps. Personally, I would have liked to see a bit more on the sports front. Quite heartened at the National Day rally last year because Prime Minister Wong, in his first NDR, actually took pains to talk about sports and the importance of that. The $100 SG60 active SG credits, I think, definitely will be useful, but there didn't seem to be as much time and airtime and space given to talk about sports. So hopefully we hear some more about that during the COS debate.
I see. Well, as part of the SG60 package here, the government said it will announce a 60% personal tax rebate for all tax residents, capped at $200. So, Nicholas, who stands to benefit the most from the personal income tax rebate?
I think, as Prime Minister and Finance Minister Wong mentioned, the cap at $200 means that the rebate will mostly benefit middle-income workers as well. And I think that is, again, a sign of the government deploying fairly targeted measures to help the income groups that potentially require the most support in this current slightly challenging environment as well. So, I think it's a nice headline sort of number, but making sure that the benefit helps those that really need the help, I think that's a good move for sure.
I see. Well, Terence, is this tax rebate of 60% really helpful? I mean, if we recall, this is the first time that the government is introducing a tax rebate of more than 50%.
Yes, but as Nicholas mentioned, I think the cap means that it's quite modest. And that's also because many of the other measures in this package are really have been stepped up and will benefit particularly the lower to middle income group compared with, let's say, a larger income tax rebate.
I see. Well, another significant support as part of the SG60 package would be the support for hawkers. How significant is this for hawkers amid cost pressures faced by F&B service providers, Nicholas?
Oh, yeah, massive. I mean, as we sort of touched on a little bit, we've always championed our hawker culture, the fact that it's, protected, the UNESCO, the source of, affordable food for many people. I think having that very sort of tangible impact, both in the rental support, one-time rental support of $600 in this year to hawker stalls in centres managed by government and government-appointed operators. I think that's definitely going to be appreciated.
Right.
But, the $1 billion over the next 20 to 30 years to upgrade aging hawker centres and to build new centres, I think that will definitely catch some attention because it not only serves the changing needs of stallholders and patrons, but it ensures that this part of our culture that, a lot of visitors and tourists point out as a highlight of coming to Singapore is not only preserved, but potentially revamped and upgraded. Now, I know some people say that they don't like it if the hawker centres become too modern. You do want to retain some of the old school charm.
Right.
But I think, if we have to address the changing tastes of patrons and tourists potentially, then you do want something a little bit refreshed and a little bit more, maybe more modern or more convenient for people as well. So I think that's a really good start. What potentially I would like to see a bit more of is maybe more guidance on how to ensure that hawker food is not just tasty and affordable, but also healthy for people, because that will continue to be a bit of an issue for people going forward.
Well, Terence, did you expect the support from, for hawker centers as well as, our local arts and heritage scenes?
Yeah, I think these are very important because they are part of what makes Singapore unique and an endearing home. So certainly hawker food, local culture, these are areas which I'm very glad are receiving quite a lot of attention in this budget.
I see. Well, then, what are your overall thoughts on SG60 being an opportunity for Singaporeans to reflect on shared values, a renewed commitment to this country, and how did Budget 2025 reflect on this, Terence?
Yeah, so I think we should not waste the opportunity for this being such an important milestone in terms of being SG60, a full cycle, as how PM put it. And we should definitely, not just through the budget, but hopefully through various activities throughout the year, take the opportunity to reflect on the journey we've been through, and also look forward to the journey ahead. So I hope to see that even beyond the budget, there could be more sort of grounded initiatives as well within the communities, Singaporeans supporting other Singaporeans pursuing the causes. I think there are are many of these funds available, and I'd like to see more of such activities.
I see. Nicholas, what are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there will be, and I think PM probably didn't want to be too much of a spoiler by rolling out all these things. I think we'll hear more during the COS and the budget debate as well. I do think that if you just look at the theme of the budget now, I said in sort of the build-up that the themes for the budgets are typically tricky to come up with something that is interesting enough but not too cheesy. So onwards together for a better tomorrow. You know, I was sort of joking earlier that potentially we need to see some Chow Yun Fat type memes for a better tomorrow. But it does signal where the emphasis is going to be. This notion of, as PM Wong has said many times prior to and after he took over as Prime Minister, and in the build-up to this budget and in the speech itself, that there should be this sense of collective co-creation of the future together. So Singaporeans supporting one another and not only looking out, for the government to do all the heavy lifting. And I think that's reflected, of course, in the title, thinking about tomorrow so that we don't just deal with the here and now, but also what comes next. But with the tone of being a better tomorrow. So a little bit of an optimistic spin. Despite the challenges, we're looking at where Singapore has come in the last 60 years, reminding ourselves of what we've overcome and trying to bring people together. But I do feel that this potentially will be fleshed out, as Terence was saying, maybe through more activities, and I'm pretty sure we can expect a really chock-a-block SG60 calendar in the months ahead.
Right. Well, that was our conversation on the SG60 package from this year's budget with our panelists, Terence Ho, Associate Professor in Practice at the Singapore University of Social Sciences, and Nicholas Fang, Director of Security and Global Affairs at the Singapore Institute of International Affairs, as well as the Managing Director of Strategic Consultancy at Black Dot. Now, you're tuned into Money Matters only on Money FM 89.3 as we bring you the 2025 budget conversation.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.